So today we're going to talk about how a program named Runspiration helped to encourage users to engage in physical activities using Flutter, with the use of a reward system by implementing a Firebase and HealthKit API. All right, part one, introduction. COVID-19 has been limiting people's ability and willingness to engage in physical activities, bringing potential health issues such as loss of muscle mass and fat accumulation. However, by implementing the gamification ideology using Flutter, exercising can become more interesting and therefore increase the user's motivation of doing so. A 12-week study found that the people in the gamified group report 1,661 daily steps compared to the baseline of 636. With their daily goals set and completed, it makes them not only more healthy, as jogging and running can optimally improve one's health, but also feel a sense of achievement and self-accomplishment. The three methodologies that we covered discuss various approaches to the impact and effectiveness of fitness apps on improving users' lifestyles. All right. The first method observed the effect of financial incentives on increasing users' activity and motivation, and found a tangible link to the amount of the compensation affecting the overall gym attendance and subsequent health of participants. The main limitation of this study was that it was limited to the scope of money, so Runspiration explores new avenues beyond financial to improve user engagement. In the second method, scholars found ways to identify what aspects of fitness apps were important and contributed to the overall quality and improvement of college students' lives. They found that apps that are free and easy to use with the gamified rewards were the most impactful according to student reports. Of course, the main limitations of this method is the lack of experimentation, and so Runspiration seeks to expand on these factors through tangible testing through actual users. In the third method, scholars also expand on the investigation of what makes a fitness app makes them a more attractive prospect compared to fitness centers. The main points that contributed were found to be the affordability and the ease of access provided by the medium, but the quality of their findings is limited by the smaller sample size and sparse exploration of the field in general. Runspiration seeks to achieve the traits highlighting in this method with the added benefit of not being jammed with excessive ads. We propose an application that will promote an increase in the general activity of the user by rewarding them for their efforts in the app of tree distance walked as a game available on iOS and Android. Using data directly from the user's device, Runspiration will be able to present that day in the context of a series of rewards that the user can only receive by pursuing a fitness goal within the day. The number of goals that the user will be able to earn will depend on the intensity of their progress as well. So the higher the distance, the greater the reward. To prevent users from trying to cheat the system, we only permit the user to edit their goals once a day so that they must commit to the goal they set rather than setting it to a lower value later in the day. There are also a series of achievements and borders that can either be bought through earned points or unlocked through other activity-related goals to further promote moving out of a person's comfort zone. The integrity of this kind is enforced by maintaining users' progress in our database connection with the Firebase backend of our app. This cloud-based connection to user data also ensures users will be able to better safeguard their existing process. All right. There were two experiments regard to both the effectiveness and the impact of Runspiration on the activity and quality of life of its users. The first experiment compared the average running distance the average running distance over a week between an experimental group that was actively using the app and a control group. The results showed that the app had a positive impact on promoting increased physical activity among those who typically do not lead an active lifestyle. However, further study will be necessary to determine the sustainability of this increase and the health benefits associated with it. The second experiment focused on the user's sentiment, aka personal feelings when they use the app. This is accomplished through a feedback button in the app, which redirects the user to a Google form we designed that asks questions about their life quality before and after the use of Runspiration. We also asked the user's opinion regarding new features that they wish to add. With the user's feedback, we're able to clarify what we did well and we need to improve on so that we can tweak our service to provide a better experience for the user. All right, challenge. In order to build the project, a few challenges have been identified as follows. One of the main challenge is to consider is how to best reward users to maximize the health benefits they can get from using Runspiration. We designed a spinning wheel to randomize the reward so that it provides more motivation for the user to pursue more spins. Speaking of the spinning wheel, we thought about providing a thank you option, which has a relatively high probability to be picked, but later lowered this down. The design motivation for this is that even the random reward, it should still feel rewarding even though the user got a less valuable result. While the user may get motivated to get more spins when they wrote the thank you option, which means they get nothing, it's notable that the probability for that is too high. It's very likely to discourage the user since they worked hard but got nothing. A notable challenge for the Runspiration was how to go about working with the database in a way that was both functional and cost-effective. This is particularly relevant for us as the underlying backend database is Firebase, for which we are financially incentivized to minimize reads and writes as much as possible. To properly do this, we can identify which operation can be achieved via a local cache and perform read and write as a collective batch. This means we'll be able to achieve multiple user data related functions without having to initiate a read or write every single time. Another hurdle that has to be overcome is how to obtain health data in the first place. The first part of this can be addressed by identifying what tools and APIs are available to us and how to best interface with them. Thankfully, Flutter has a health library that can communicate with HealthKit, but there are several other challenges to consider. One of the biggest hurdles comes from the fact that the data itself does not necessarily update in real time, which means that measures such as estimates will need to be made, make up the difference until the true data eventually updates. Runspiration's main objective is to help users live a healthier lifestyle than they would otherwise. To achieve that goal, we set out to unify the following components. The first one is authentication. Before any user is able to start using Runspiration, they will be required to sign up for an account, as this is what allows us to track and preserve their progress. Being able to attach user data to a unified database, we can keep their information safe and accessible. This snippet of code is covering the sign-in and sign-up functions in Runspiration. The sign-in function calls on Firebase with the entered credentials before allowing the user to go to the rest of the app. This is all done through asynchronous functions. An asynchronous function is used in order to enable the use of catch and try blocks, as well as allowing the main thread to execute. The sign-up function is in charge of setting up new users so that they can properly interact with every feature. They also initialize a bunch of variables such as profile picture, session count, which is default to 0, currency, etc., which will allow the UI from future screens to show information properly, even for a user who may not have done something related to that part of the app yet. All right. Next one is activity. Once the user has logged in, they can choose to start an activity by pressing the icon on the bottom left of the corner in the navigation bar. The user will be brought to the page to start a run, while a man running on the road serves as a background image. Once the user clicked on the start button, they will be directed to another page in which there will be a timer recording their runtime. The kilometers they run and calories they burn will also be available to the user by connecting the app with Apple Health API. And let's talk about the achievements. Naturally, all of the activities the user participates are in part due to desire to unlock new achievements and earn rewards. This means that properly facilitating the collection and appearance of them is a major part of Runspiration experience. The first component of interest is the authentication aspect of the app. Before any user is able to start using Runspiration, they will be required to sign up for an account, as this is what allows us to track and preserve their progress. Being able to attach user data to a unified database, we can keep their information safe and accessible. All right, and the next component of interest is the activity portion of the app. Once the user has logged in, they can choose to start an activity by pressing the icon on the bottom left of the corner. And for the section code, the user will have already been asked to grant permissions for reading the health data each of the functions is looking to read, namely calories, distance, and exercise each time. Each of these functions then follows the same pattern for acquiring data, which is to call the fetch data function to query the device for current health data. This will cause the device to send and update the application's singleton, which will allow each function to then calculate the requested value before returning it to the caller. The final component is the achievement segment. Naturally, all of the activities the user participates in are in part due to the desire to unlock new achievements and earn rewards. The following on Fling method includes the following. First, it checks whether the user has any spins left. If not, it will reject this. Spin. Second, it will randomly generate a number named RNG result. Since the probability distribution for each number is even, we can decide by setting up a numeric range. For example, if the number is smaller than 2.5, then the user will gain a winning of 88, which means that the probability that the user will have a winning of 88 is 3.5. This distribution is assigned to all options using if-else conditional statements. Third, once the spin animation is complete, it will get the result of the spin and subtract the user's spin one by one. Lastly, in order to update the user's spin real time, we use the setState function to notify the rest of the UI to refresh themselves. Some limitations and improvement in regards to the project include, the first one is that the UI design can be optimized. User interface design is a constantly evolving part of user experience. Runspiration focused primarily on having functional UI as part of its emphasis on user implementation. As we close out on more and more required features, more work needs to be put into both building assets through the use of graphical tools like Figma for the existing screens and adjusting how they are sized and aligned to create a more cohesive and immersive experience for the end user. More user interaction could be added, such as the friend system. We can achieve this by adding a chat or friend system so that users can communicate with each other and form bonds, which increases user motivation. Implementing a ranking system and distributing rewards based on that may help increase the motivation of exercising as well. Both of these could be implemented through the app's interaction with the Firebase backend and with the addition of cloud functions to ensure data integrity. Richer and more beautiful cosmetics could be added. Cosmetics is one of the cornerstones of our incentives system for getting more users to live an active lifestyle. Therefore, consistent requirements with eventual updates and fixes would be the introduction of more such rewards to allow users to better represent themselves and showcase the accomplishment that they make with one another. Runspiration provides a resolution to current increasing health risks regarding to modern people. The implementation of in-game currency, cosmetics, use of Apple Health API, achievements, etc., help increase users' motivation to exercise and pursue a better and healthier lifestyle. Thank you. Are there any questions?